What's doper, I guess? Pre-recorded live from Las Vegas, Nevada, where the prostitutes have taken over Tinder, and Tinder's never been more honest. It's the Derek Luna Show. This week, an interview with Val Werner, plus a visit to the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club. But now, rumor is he's got the loosest slots in town. It's Derek Luna. Yes, here we are. I'm up on top of a parking structure of some type over here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're coming to the end of our week here with the World Series of Comedy. It's been an awesome week. We've been putting on just banger show after banger show after banger show. And then in between, I spend a lot of time out here in the parking garage smoking cigarettes. I mean, I know you're allowed to smoke them in the casino, but I need the fresh air while I'm smoking. So I hang out here a lot. And yeah, it's been a great week. Man, just so busy, I barely got around to really doing an interview. But finally, here on our last day in town, I got an interview with Val Werner, which you're going to see here momentarily. Also, man, we were lucky enough to get hooked up with Justin Harris. I hope I'm getting that name wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll fix it right here on a graphic. But super cool dude, runs a show at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club. So me and Val were lucky enough to get hooked up with this dude and get to go over there and meet everybody who works there and meet the bookers, and had good sets. It was a super late night show. You know what? I think I got video clips of it. So here, check this out. See what I'm talking about.
Finally, somebody told me I was kind of weird looking. You know who finally told me that I was kind of weird looking? None of my friends had the balls. You know who told me? Hollywood. They told me right to my face, guys. I lived out in Los Angeles for a while. I was like auditioning for TV and movie roles and stuff. And Hollywood took one look at me and they were like, yeah, man, I don't think we're going to be making any more of these earnest movies. You might want to pack it up. I did get some work as a background actor. You guys know what they do, right? They just walk around. They don't have any lines or anything. I was a background actor on Scrubs. Yeah, it's been off the air for 30 years. Things are going pretty well. But no, I was in the background actor's room and the director says, well, one of these actors didn't show up. We've got 2 lines we're going to give out to one of you lucky background actors. Who wants them? Everybody put their hands in the air, except for me, because I know they're not looking for Tony Hawk after a horrible skateboarding incident. But no, he looks around the whole room and he goes, you're perfect. Perfect, he says. I've never been perfect for anything, you know what I mean? I read the script, it was 2 lines. It was an AIDS patient. Yeah, that feels good. I appreciate that, Hollywood. That feels good. I got a type, y'all. Cancer, meth, AIDS. If you're dying slowly, I should play that part. One of the lines was, I got AIDS. The other line was, I got AIDS real bad. It's not even normal. I act like I got the real bad AIDS is what I look like.
Pretty good stuff, right? And so yeah, it was fun. We got to check that place out. Dope club. There's just so much comedy happening in Vegas. I mean, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But yeah, did that. That was fun. Vegas has been fun. We've been working hard. The World Series of Comedy. This is our opening satellite, the opening of the 2025 season. So we just keep on plugging away from here. Next week, I'm hoping to get an interview with 1 or 2 of my bandmates. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, we're doing a college band reunion show. My old band Playing with Matches, we're getting together. And so everybody's going to get a chance to talk to these fools and see some stories maybe from way back in the day as we prepare to get ready for that. I'll probably try to get some clips of rehearsal. That'll be fun. So yeah, next week we're back home. Then we go to Indianapolis. Then we go to Ohio. Then we go to Florida. We're all over the place with the World Series of Comedy. I'll be grabbing lots of cool interviews with comics. Until then, enjoy this little sit down with my big sister in comedy, Val Werner, who was kind enough to sit down with us during a very busy week here in Las Vegas and play 10 bad questions and tell me a little bit about herself and her start in comedy, which is inspiring to me personally. So yeah, check it out. Thanks for checking out the show. Enjoy this interview with Val Werner. Check it out.
Good roommate. We don't see each other. I'm gone for weeks at a time. I'm here with Val Werner.
There you go.
And I peeled out here just for a minute to talk with Val. We're on our last day in Vegas.
That's right.
We're at the beautiful LA Comedy Club. I don't know if you can see the logos.
It is beautiful.
It is a great club, for sure.
Very nicely set up.
And I stole their microphones to do this interview.
I know, this can't be one of ours.
It's smashed.
It did to hell.
It's smashed. A great club, subpar equipment. I'll go ahead and say it. I'll go ahead and say it. Some of the equipment.
They know.
They
we're
know.
We're not telling tales out of turn here.
They know what's up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's our last day, last show tonight in Vegas. We've been here all week.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exciting week. We got to go do spots at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club.
We did. That place is cavernous.
Yeah, huge spot. It was dope. Got to meet everybody over there.
Yeah, what's normally a decent audience looked like minuscule compared to the giantness of the club.
Yeah, it seemed like a bad crowd at first glance.
And then you're like, oh, right.
I'm like, no, it's pretty normal.
It's normal.
Just the facility is, like, huge.
It's just like a banquet hall in there.
Yeah,
But
pretty
it's
big.
nice.
And we've had great shows here all week.
We had good crowds.
Good crowds.
Yeah.
You've been crushing it all week. I've had shitty performances.
I mean, we both think that of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I figured shit out last night, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
the other 2 nights, I was like, oh, so.
Well, those are, early week. That's what you got to do.
Well, it's chaos. The wild card.
And the hosting spot, I say, there's a ceiling to how good you can really do.
Yeah, because people are still logging in to Zippy vote.
They're Zippy voting. They're checking out the drink menu.
They're still ordering shit. It's the worst spot.
Yeah.
But we make the best of
At
it.
any one moment, I feel like I just kind of have half the room.
Yeah.
It's like,
Although
she's ordering drinks over here, so I'll talk to this guy.
Yeah. Last night I felt we cracked them open though pretty well.
Yeah.
And they were like a live wire. I think we could have read the phone book and they would have laughed last night.
Yeah, they were a good crowd.
They were definitely ready to laugh.
So we got a second. First of all, I want to play 10 bad questions with
10
you.
bad
I've peeled it
questions?
down for this season to just 10 bad
Is
questions.
it because you can't come up with 10 good questions?
No, these are fun, weird, off the
okay.
cuff. And I'd like doing the same 10 questions with every guest.
everybody?
With
All
every
right.
guest here on the Derek Luna Show. But let me talk to you for a minute because I think we chatted a little bit. We didn't get a chance last video to talk about your start in comedy. It's fascinating to me that you started so late, really.
Right. That's true. I think COVID broke everybody,
It broke your brain in
It
half?
certainly broke my brain in half because I was a physicist and an engineer, and then they came to me and said, "You're going to be in charge of COVID for the company." And I was like, "I don't want to do that. I'm an engineer. I build shit. I don't work on."
You were an
masks."
engineer.
Right.
Who did you work with?
I worked for an engine company called Cummins, and I mostly
Cummins
worked on-
Diesel?
Yeah.
Ballin'.
All that other. Well, they make a lot of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
And I mostly worked in construction, so I'd have big construction projects all over the world. And but because I designed things safely, and the word safety was in my title,
You got stuck with all the COVID
they're
shit?
like, let's find all the safety executives and make them deal with COVID. And it was stuff that I never did, and I had to talk to people, which is not my strong suit. And
Probably taking care of health, safety stuff, health-related stuff, ordering masks and making sure that...
I would rather be on a construction site right now with a hard hat and steel toes. But, I think at one point I was just like, my husband got a big promotion, so I was like, we can afford if I quit. And so I cashed my chips in, and they like, well, if you can hang on until I hire somebody, and then I quit, and then I didn't really know what I was going to do. And like an overeducated Democrat, I thought, well, if I just take a class.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get some
class.
Let's get some training.
Right. Maybe I can learn something. So I took a woodworking class.
And you still are into woodworking.
Yeah. And I started a wood shop, and then I took a comedy class. And I remember the first time I was on stage, and the teacher was like, "Are you already a comedian?"
Yeah.
Because I had been a public speaker for so long. At work. And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you just don't seem nervous at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've had everything go wrong on stage as a public speaker.
Yeah.
I've fallen down. I forgot my presentation. I accidentally dyed my tongue black because I ate nerds before I went on stage. So I was like, what could possibly go wrong?
You've been doing corporate gigs for years at this point,
yeah,
which are some of the hardest, weirdest gigs to do.
The stage doesn't faze me, so
that's just so he could see like you're not hung up on a lot of the stuff that the newbie beginners do, like holding the mic a weird way or just being insanely nervous or like
all I had to do was be funny.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I think that's kind of half the battle.
Yeah,
the other half is like looking like a normal person on stage and not being nervous and things like that.
So you're coming at it kind of backwards, where a lot of times new folks will have decent jokes, or they have some ideas of what they're doing joke writing wise, and they spend the first couple of years just trying to not be nervous and talk into a microphone and not seem like an alien.
Right, or just be like, "Hi, my name is Val Werner." You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I didn't have that problem, but it was really how to write jokes and not it be like dead silence for so long because there's no laughs. My setups were too long. My stories were too long.
Sure, yeah.
And so learning how to write, and so I took more classes. I read more books. I watched a lot of videos.
A lot of people crap on classes. I think I've taken a handful of classes, specifically on like joke writing.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I think it's tough to teach somebody how to be funny, but you can teach somebody how to write a joke.
Yeah, it is
like,
just it's writing, and even if you can just write 10 reverses in a day.
Yeah. So
when you have actually something you want to talk about.
So if you're a newer comic, I would say that don't be afraid to take a class.
No. Right.
You know nothing now. So what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, right. If you take the class and you're like, I know all this shit, then you're too arrogant to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe you picked the wrong class, but I read a lot of books too.
So when you started doing the World Series, how long had you been doing comedy? Just locally in Indy, pretty much?
I'm in my third year.
Third year.
That's
this is insane how good you've gotten so fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no way of knowing.
I guess.
I have no gauge, right?
But I think that's a part of having a lot of the corporate background. Public speaking helps a ton.
Yeah.
Because now you're just putting it all together.
That's my comedy privilege. That's what I talk about. Right?
So that's cool. I look up to that so much. Somebody that could walk away from this whole career and just be like, I'm going to start pursuing things that I'm passionate about, things that interest me.
Yeah, I think it helped that, like, I realized that in a career, like, you can have all the touchdowns you want. The game never ends.
Yeah.
And as long as you're like, well, I've scored so much that I'm going to win this game no matter what. So I didn't feel like I had anything unfinished.
Yeah.
Whereas I think some people are like, no, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, I think I've done everything I want to do. And now it was just about, can I actually
Except for
afford?
woodworking and stand-up comedy.
Right. So, but because even now, like, I haven't had my shop open for 6 months because I moved and I've been luckily busy. I did, like, between World Series and other gigs, I had like 150 paid gigs last year.
You're crushing it. I want to talk about that a little bit too.
It's been working out in the last year, I would say.
Go hang out in the Indianapolis local scene. Everybody knows Val. Everybody has great things to say about Val.
Yeah, they don't know me.
They don't know me. Well,
I'm
you're
the
crushing
quiet
it, though.
one.
And in fact, you were very upset earlier this week because you had to turn down gigs
was.
because
It's
you were
so
already booked
annoying.
on other gigs.
Right. I hate turning down work. I hate
Sure.
that, so
Everybody does, but
Yeah.
these are great problems to have.
they
in a
are
way.
the world's tiniest violin to complain
Yeah.
about. Right?
Yeah.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was talking to a comedian. I'm like, hey, what's the best way to get at this club? Because he's only hired me 6 times. And he said, guess how many times he's hired me? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to take my world's tiniest violin and put
Yeah.
it away.
Yeah, you got to be careful who you gripe
Right.
to.
I was like, you've been doing it for 10 years. He goes, yeah, so you can shut the fuck up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it now. But yeah, there's no normality in comedy. You know what I mean? Like when you go to school and you get a career, they're like, they lay, oh, well, in 5 years you'll do this.
Yeah.
In 6 years you'll do that.
And
10 years-
seniority counts for more than
Right.
it.
Whereas here, there is no structure. There's just guesses.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, you'll have this 3rd year where you think you know how to do everything and you turn into a dickhead. That's what somebody told me. They go, oh, if you can break even for 5 years, you're not going to make any money for 5 years, right? Maybe you can headline by 7 years. And these are the things people lay out. And then you talk to somebody else, they're like, nah, you can forget all that shit. Right?
Yeah, they're arbitrary
It's
things.
completely made up timetables.
There's always exceptions to every time somebody says, "Oh, it takes 10 years to get really good."
Right.
Then you find some other people who are like, "Well, they're pretty good at
Yeah.
4 or 5." You know, it's just
I took that class and I started going to open mics for like 2 months, and then I quit. And I was like, because I was so used to a corporate structure, I was like, these people are nuts.
these people are nuts.
I was like, I don't know how to get hired. I have no idea how to get booked. I don't know if I'm funny or not. I was like, fuck it, right? And then I took off for like 6 months, and I came back to it in February, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to approach this like any other job, because I was like, when I first started work, it took years before they would let me do a project on my own. It took years before I had confidence. So I'm like, why
Yeah.
am I setting that weird higher expectation?
Sure,
for
yeah.
myself? And I'm like thinking about all the things I had to learn at my job, and I'm like, this is just the same. So I took the same approach I had at my work towards comedy, which I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's just what
I think it's a
know.
good attitude to have. I mean, and that's nothing new. I think every comic feels that way at certain points.
Right. It was like, fuck it, I can't do
Lost,
that
or like, yeah, I don't exactly know
Right.
what the next step is, or how do I get to the next step?
So I mostly focused on things I could control,
Yeah.
like showing up on time and not being drunk and not hitting on waitresses. Which
These are all
I
very
heard bookers
important.
complain about
These are all
all the time.
very important things.
I'm like, those are things I could control, but I can't control how funny I am yet.
well,
you know?
you're a step ahead just in the fact that you can control those things. some comics
This is
do not
true,
have that
right.
ability.
Yes, if it's hard enough and you've had an addiction, you can't
Yeah.
help yourself.
These are all problems.
Disease where I could control it and be like, the least I can do is be kind to people, show up on time, and be professional as I
Yeah.
can, yeah.
Well, so things are going well overall, you'd say?
I think so. I mean, everybody has goals.
I'm super
you know.
impressed. If you're in your 3rd year.
No,
That's
no,
amazing to me.
no, that's very kind.
And I do
for me.
Bar Comedy USA shows with Val, and that's where I started noticing in the off season that you'd been hitting the weight room and you'd been getting the jokes in shape, because I did some early off season shows with you, and I was like, Val's great. And then there was a month or 2 away, and then I did another show with you, and I was like, oh crap, Val has
Right.
been putting in work.
It's a grind. You have to put the work in.
It's fun to me when you get a month or so away from somebody,
Yeah,
because then
it's
you
true.
really notice it. You're like, oh
Yeah.
crap, Val just laid down the law.
I can see that.
Yeah,
But I see that in everybody else too. But it's funny you don't recognize it in yourself.
it's hard. Yeah,
Right? You're like, oh, I can see how well, especially with World Series of Comedy, you see comedians 1 year later, and you're like, gosh, I love their jokes. Like Maximilian's joke,
yes.
fucking crush.
I thought Andy Gunnan is
I
better than
know.
I've ever seen him, and I've
So-
seen him so much.
So it's just like being able to watch them, and you can recognize improvement in other people, but then you sit at home going, I fucking suck. I mean,
Yeah,
so it's like,
it's hard to tell.
it's hard to be, you're hypercritical of yourself more than.
Shout out Hannibal Callens. I thought he has been putting in some work.
He had
he had
a
a great
good
set.
too, man. But
Everybody's
last
been
night,
having
everybody
good ones.
crushed. That was crazy.
Yeah, you get to that semifinal round. It's one hell of a show.
Yeah.
6 comics. Everybody's
were
doing
nuts.
10.
I had no way of knowing. Like, I had no guesses last night.
Yeah. So our finals tonight. Let's go ahead and do 10 bad questions.
Let's go.
Thanks for chatting with me. Yeah, I'm a big fan, Val.
Thank you. I'm a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of yours, and pumped every time we get a chance to work together. It's
curious.
bombing insurance whenever you have a pal there.
That's true. Right? What do you mean, like?
Because if you bomb and it goes bad, well, then we can laugh about how bad it went.
That's true. You're not.
And
just,
you still have fun.
You're not just alone in your hotel room.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
insurance
That's
against
true.
a bad show. All right, these are 10 bad questions.
Okay, I'm ready. Bad questions.
First of all, let's get this out of the way. Online, where do we find you online, Val? Question number 1.
Well, I have a website, valwernercomedy.com, and then
IG, which IGs?
same thing, val.werner.comedy.
All right.
It's all the same on Facebook, TikTok, and
I'll put that
all
at the
of them are
bottom
the
of the
same. Thank you
screen,
very
so
much.
follow
There you go.
follow Val. Check out her calendar. Go watch her somewhere. Question 2. Let's get into it. If you were king, what is something that you would make everybody? What's a fun thing that you would make everybody do? So it's a fun thing, but you would force everyone to do it to the point where it might not be fun anymore. But
to the point where it's not fun anymore.
yeah, if you were king, what's one fun thing that you would force everyone to do?
Eat a donut every day.
Everyday donuts.
They're delicious. They're
Yeah.
and they're sweet and they make you happy. You know.
I'm down with this, especially if it's a Dunkin'. I got
Right. And everybody can do it. You
I
know?
love a Dunkin'
Well,
donut.
mostly people.
Question 3. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Strawberry.
Fast.
I know that.
Question 4. If you were a time-traveling tourist, what era are you going to go back to just to visit, just to hang out? Caveat, you have all your inoculations and stuff, so
Right.
you're not going to get like smallpox or
And
something.
I won't be burned as a witch. Right?
Yeah,
That's-
okay. I'll give you that
Like
too.
in reality, that's my biggest fear of time travel. Is
Yeah.
that in like
You can't do this question with
4 days.
with my fellow black comics because they're like, well, not too far
I'm
back.
not going that far. No freaking way. No way. I would like to meet Galileo. So
Oh,
in
yeah.
that period of time, that Renaissance period.
Renaissance.
You know, I'm like, how,
Florence.
how did you figure out, the movement of the planets?
He'd probably be a weird
With,
dude to hang
like,
out with,
no
though.
equipment whatsoever. That
Yeah.
shit blows my mind. That kind of stuff. So that would be
Interesting.
when
I think
would
that's
go.
the first Renaissance answer we've
Yeah,
had.
as long as I'm not burned as a witch. That
Yeah,
would be,
you need some witch insurance.
right. Yeah.
Question 5. Favorite performance space. Now, this could be a two-parter. Favorite place that you have performed, and then also like a dream like I'd love to perform there someday. I'd love to perform at the Grand Ole Opry.
At the Grand Ole Opry, well, you play guitar, so that makes
Well, they
sense.
do comedy now. A
Really?
handful of Nate Bargatze's done shows there. My
That's
buddy,
pretty cool.
my buddies Dusty Slay and Derek Stroop have both performed there. Aaron Weber. So I know dudes who have. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah,
Yeah, I
Grand
think,
Ole Opry.
I think I did the Blue Whale Comedy Festival in Tulsa, so shout out to Blue Whale. Those guys know how to put on
Yeah,
a fucking festival.
That's a good one.
Right? And there's this place called the Kane Ballroom. I think it's called the Kane Ballroom. And it's just this classic kind of arched, large ballroom that I think it's 100 years old. And it just seats hundreds of people in there. It just has this fun feel, like you're going back in time, and as well.
like
But-
a what era?
Oh, I think it's over 100 years old.
Oh wow, yeah.
And,
I
and
love old theaters.
it's like a
and
dance
stuff like
hall.
that.
It's just this big cavernous space, and Reggie Watts was the headliner, and so when he performs with music as well. So when he first kicked on the bass, I'm in the back of the room. I could hear the steel pillars and beams vibrate, and like having a construction background, I unconsciously stepped towards the nearest pillar. I'm like, if he's gonna tear this building down, the pillar's gonna be what's left standing.
Yeah.
So, but I like that space. I love McCurdy's just because how well run that club is.
Yeah, they run a
And
tight ship
They
down
do.
there.
They run a tight ship, and it's a fun space. It's a lot of senior citizens.
Yeah.
But you weren't at McCurdy's last year, were you?
No, I'm
Well, we're gonna
looking
have a good
forward to
time.
that.
Yeah.
McCurdy's, here we come. Question 6. What's the most annoying thing?
The most annoying thing.
What's the most annoying thing?
Other drivers.
driver
Other
related
drivers.
things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say this. This is terrible. Please forgive me. When I see a bad driver, I ask the question out loud.
Yeah.
Is this an Asian or a woman? Is this a woman or an Asian?
Right.
And here you are, an Asian woman.
I just assume that they're an idiot. That's what I assume. Or they're having a bad day. I think I try to be like empathetic. I'm like, this person's, child is sick in the hospital and is distracted.
I just go racist,
But
sexist, just immediately.
I still am like, well, fucking pay attention to the road, but still.
Well, that's probably a common answer. Question 7.
Yeah.
Snakes or spiders?
Like what I'm afraid of?
I don't really specify.
Spiders. I don't
Some
like
people
spiders.
say what they like better.
I don't.
So
I would take a snake over a spider any day.
Okay. Question 8. You're on a desert island. You get to pick 5 movies.
Oh, When Harry Met Sally, Interstellar, Arrival, Apollo 13.
Ooh, all space movies.
And that's I love space. And boy, a 5th one.
Just
World War Z. Zombies.
I like that one.
Space, and
I just
old
like the way you
rom-coms.
said, I love space.
I do love space.
I do love. Were you a NASA kid, a space camp kid?
Oh, I didn't get to go to space camp.
But you were into
My dad
it.
did some work for NASA, and I was big into space. I've seen
Ladies
every
in
book.
STEM.
Yeah, every book, every movie of space, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably name all the Apollo astronauts.
Louis has that bit about how hard it is to be an astronaut. How
It's incredibly hard.
just
to be an
everybody
astronaut.
gets washed out. It's just the top of the
It's
top.
the top of the top of the top. Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Space movies. Okay, we're wrapping it up. Question 9. You're a road dog.
I think now.
I know you're a
God.
road dog. I know of some wild drives you've taken.
25,000 miles last year.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Yeah.
What's you got a favorite gas station / truck stop?
I like
Everybody's got-
Loves. I like a Loves.
I'm a Loves fan
10
too.
cents off per gallon.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
There's fresh fruit there that you don't question. Is this going to give me E. coli?
Yeah.
So
10 cents off a gallon. You can't beat it.
You can't beat it.
Go get the Loves app. Stop at a Loves.
Right.
And question 10, without getting, I guess I'll allow you to get a little sentimental, but what's your favorite thing about comedy?
Well, it's our job to make people laugh and forget their troubles.
The forgetting the troubles part.
Right. And I think that's what I like about comedy is that we're there to entertain people, and people go get entertained for the same reasons I go get entertained. I'm like, fuck, I just want to go turn my brain off for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And so that's why, when people talk about, oh, fuck the audience, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And I'm like, what do you mean fuck the audience? This is our job,
That's
man.
the job, yeah.
Respect the audience, and that's why I'm here for it. So
I like that. We'll leave that there. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish, comedians. It's not about you. It's not therapy. I mean, you probably getting
It could be therapy. It
you
is
could be getting
therapy.
some stuff off your chest, but
Yeah,
you're there
yeah.
to do a job. Stay focused on that.
Yeah.
She's Val Werner. She's my co-host for the World Series of Comedy. She's
There
a
you go.
hilarious comedian
Hilarious.
out of Indianapolis. Go check her out online and go watch her perform somewhere, if at all possible. Val, thanks
Sounds
for
fun.
hanging out and talking with me.
All right, Derek. Thanks. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, should be. God willing.
God willing.
Joe willing.
Joe Willing.
Well, there it is. There it was. That's our show from right here in the bright lights in the city of Las Vegas. We made it through a whole week. One of like 3 weeks that I have to spend here in Las Vegas. Who needs a shower? I'm going to go hit the showers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks to Val Werner for sitting down with me. Thanks to the Dragon Room at the LA Comedy Club right here at the Strat. And thank you, Las Vegas. We'll see you next week.